Welcome to the Church of the Romanesco broccoli. Thank you for becoming a part of my small, growing congregation. I do hope you will consider subscribing. Today we are stepping away from the labyrinth of the everyday to audit a cinematic triumph. Michael, the biopic, directed by Antoine Fuqua, a director whose canvas ranges from The Replacement Killers to the Equalizer trilogy, and many I've left out for the sake of brevity. There will be no spoilers as such, just observations. If you are listening to this, there's a good chance you already know the details of Michael's life, the good, the bad, and the ugly. For some of you, you may only have a passing familiarity with Michael's life, so this movie will be a good entry point. I have purposely not read any of the professional reviews. Neither have I ingested any other commentary from elsewhere. I did not want my take to be colored or influenced by what anyone else had to say. Like you, I have only seen reactions of people coming out of the cinema, and I've also heard tale of the reviews being abysmal. More on that later. Regardless of the reviews, I knew I was going to see this film anyway. As a fan, it would be mandatory for me. The movie opened on April 24th, 2026, shattering expectations with a $97 million domestic opening. In a mere 3 weeks, it has grossed over $577 million worldwide, making it the second highest grossing musical biopic of all time. There is a chance by the time you're listening to this, you can add another couple $100 million to that tally. The people have truly spoken. In spite of the critics and a dismal 38% on Rotten Tomatoes. Let me be entirely direct. I loved it. It is triumphant. Jafar Jackson's performance is an absolute tour de force. Phenomenal. For the 2 or 3 individuals listening who may not know, Jafar is the son of Jermaine Jackson, the 4th child born to Joseph and Catherine Jackson, and obviously brother of Michael, meaning he carries the exact genetic frequency required to channel his uncle. There is something utterly otherworldly about watching those genetics play out on screen, in the dancing, the vocalizations, and the posture, the eyes, even down to Jafar's teeth, which seem to be in the exact configuration as his uncle's. Michael's teeth were always perfect, They are the one feature he never had the need to alter. Jafar truly left his skin on the floor. You can feel, you can smell the sheer industrial work he put into this role. The casting across the entire project is 99% flawless. Playing the younger version of Michael is Giuliano Voldi, who turns in a deeply special performance. However, we must discuss the remaining 1%, the casting of LaToya Jackson, played by Jessica Sula, which can only be described as vanity casting. While LaToya was certainly cute, at no point did she ever resemble the actress portraying her, nor do we see the clinical progression of her many facial surgeries on screen. She would have us believe she came straight out the gate looking her ideal self. I noticed LaToya is listed as one of the many producers on this biopic, so I imagine she held some sway. But optically, it is a definitive letdown when the rest of the ensemble is mirrored so perfectly. Curiously, neither Janet Jackson nor Rebby Jackson are pictured in this narrative. One gets the distinct impression that Janet wanted nothing to do with the project, as she conspicuously bypassed the premiere. I'm certain she has her private reasons. Now, to address the critics who complain that the film glosses over the more unsavory chapters and allegations, let us apply some baseline logic. The lead producer here is Graham King, the very same mind behind Bohemian Rhapsody. Nowhere in that Queen biopic did we see Freddie Mercury in the midst of the many debauched activities he took part in, such as hiring dwarves, little people, to use as a table for guests to eat their food off. And by the way, this would have been one of the more vanilla capers of Freddie. Nowhere did we see Queen playing the Sun City Resort in South Africa at the height of apartheid, when every artist of conscience was boycotting the regime. Why then should the Michael biopic be held to a different standard, especially when Michael was acquitted of all charges in a court of law? Rami Malek walked away with an Oscar for his performance. It will be fascinating to see if Jafar gets the same nod. I saw a matinee performance which was quite full for 10:30 a.m. I would definitely like to see it again with an evening crowd for the ambience and good times, and I aim to see it before it leaves the theatres. I aim to do so again before it leaves the theatres. There are so many individual good performances in this film, and I would be remiss if I did not mention Nia Long's dignified and solid turn as Katherine Jackson. Speaking of which, we must give a salute to this wonderful matriarch who is currently 96 years old as of the recording of this, and also a deep, respectful bow to her remarkable womb, which produced 10 children, 9 of whom survive, and of course produced Michael, a gift to the world. I hasten to add that the rest of the children are not exactly slouches in the talent department, but as I am discussing Michael, he is the focus. Lastly, a special salute to the magnificent Coleman Domingo as Joe Jackson, the complicated patriarch. He turns in a quality performance as per usual. However, it did make me internally chuckle and wonder, did they purposely create an extra large nose prosthetic for Joe as a final delicious FU from Michael from beyond the grave? Joe's nose was never as gargantuan as depicted here, even pre-nose job, or nose jobs as the case may be. But since he mercilessly taunted young Michael with the nickname Big Nose, I feel this was a calculated strike. They knew Joe would have absolutely loathed this portrayal. If my inkling is correct, I can only laugh. Revenge is indeed a dish best served cold and cast in silicone. So, all in all, and in conclusion, moonwalk, do not run to the next screening. The Michael biopic is not to be missed.